A lot of hobbies have been talking about, you know, showing them how to set up from, you know, an inspiration that you get from somewhere, so like an image, or you see a place and you take a picture of it and you want to then try and aquascape something similar into your aquarium. And so to do that, what we're now trying to do is trying to set up an aquarium, um, a mini aquarium that basically will show you how to take a picture, or if you've seen an image somewhere, and then you put it into your aquarium. Okay. So this is an image that I took when I was in Panna Tiger Reserve, Madhya Pradesh. This was at the edge of a river, of the river Ken, that flows through the Tiger Reserve. And we're trying to replicate that in ADA Mini M. Okay. So we've got the basic ready. So to get these plants growing on the wood, we first have to get the wood ready. Okay. So the wood is ready. Now slowly what we're going to do is we're going to see if it matches. Okay. And hopefully hoping that the wood matches with the image. Yeah. So I will take this piece of wood. I've already attached it to the stone to give an image, yeah, an idea. So let's see this. See, basically, more or less, the wood is more or less in a similar shape as what we see in the image. I'll go closer so you can get an idea. Okay. See, now you have the image, and we've got the base frame like a skeleton of sorts. Now we will be tying plants to this piece of wood. In this image, the tree that's growing out on the river bank has a kind of sharpest kind of leaves, and I'm going to try and use Rotala rotalifolia HRA, okay, which has also a reddish color, known to have a reddish color in the tank. And because the plants have kind of a similar leaf structure. Now, I don't know if anybody's used this to grow like a tree, but this is the first time I'm doing it. So let's see how it comes. Let's see how it goes. So step one in this process is, of course, we got the stones and wood arranged in the aquarium. We know how it looks. And now we want to tie plants to the wood. So first you get your plants ready. We're using ADA moss cotton to tie. We have a tray and we have some water so that we can remove the plants from the cup and start the tying process. So Pooja out here will be helping us tie the plants. So the first step is to remove the plant from the tissue culture cup. Go ahead. Yeah. So you puncture the top seal, okay, and slowly remove the seal around. Yes, carefully, and remove the plants carefully from the cup. Now you see the plant has the plant and the gel in the bottom. Okay, now this gel, we need to remove the gel. Okay, the best way to remove the gel is to basically break the plant like this and wash off the gel in a cup of water. You can use a mug. Please don't use hot water. Use regular room temperature, or if it's slightly cold, it's good because the plants will. You don't want to use hot water. Now let's go closer and see how the gel is being removed. Yeah, please show us again. Wash it again. So use your fingers to remove the gel. Now if you see, the gel is all settled in the bottom. Yeah. Okay, and please put the plants into the tray. Yeah. Okay. Some more. So just clean up. We have some of the gel lying here in the tray as well, and the gel is completely washed off the roots. It's important that there is no gel left, because if you plant the gel, then because it's a sugar based gel, it will start decaying and it will spoil the plant again. So let's finish this cup. So while Pooja is doing this, if you have any questions, please put it into the ask your questions below, and also subscribe to this channel so you can get to see more videos of this kind. Okay. So remove most of the gel and then wash off whatever little excess. Once the washing is done, we will then start the tying process. So, as you saw just now, we got the plants cleaned and arranged, and we will start off the tying process. Now, just to remind you all, we are now trying to recreate an image of, an aquascape of a picture that I took in the Panna Tiger Reserve. Yeah, I was traveling there last month, and with a very close friend, got to take a picture, and we're trying to recreate that. Let me just show you that picture again. So this is the aquascape we're trying to create. This is an image that I took, again, like I said, in Panna Tiger Reserve. We're going to try and create this. So once the plants are removed, we've arranged them. Now if you see carefully, we've arranged them in different heights. Now it's important that you do this. Most people will not tell you this, but you then can plan where and which area or which side the plant can be on the wood. Yeah? Like maybe we will use a shorter variety closer to the top and use a taller plant closer to the bottom. We're going to be using moss cotton, okay, which is an ADA product. Now, we don't want these plants to dry out. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover it with a newspaper. Okay, we're going to cover it with a newspaper. Okay, like this, and spray some water onto the newspaper so that the plants are moist and they don't dry up while you're working. Okay, so you just take out only what you need, okay, and the rest again stays back under the newspaper. Okay, so now first we'll get a. We're trying to tie the taller variety, so you move the paper. Make sure that the rest of the plants are still moist, so cover it with the paper. Now here we have a little bit of a gap where we try and put the plants in. Okay, give it some grip, maybe a little more inside. Okay, let me show you from the bottom. Yeah. So we've got the plants in, and we're going to tie using ADA moss cotton. We're going to use this. Now this is a biodegradable thread, okay, which will eventually, once about say 45 days or so, it will completely disintegrate. Yeah? And the plants, um, okay. So now we've got a couple of rounds around the plant. We're just knotting it, and hopefully it stays there. There you go. It's knotted. You don't have to tighten it too much, just enough so that you don't damage the plant and also the plant stays in place. Okay. That's like the first step. And make a couple of knots so that you have the plant in place. Okay. So once you have the knot in place, okay, you cut the excess. Yeah. Now let's move to the next. Remember, it's important that the plant does not dry. So as you keep working, you consistently keep spraying the plant so that it does not dry out. Now it's also important that you don't use a fan or anything in the room so that, you know, it doesn't dry. It's important that the plants stay moist as you keep working. You can also cover it with a plastic if you want. Yeah. Now the next piece also going on. Yeah, we're trying to see where it will look good, and we will tie accordingly. नीचे से नीचे से
See ना?
नीचे से see the piece of wood. See the piece of wood. You don't have नीचे से ये wood पे बनना है. हाँ.
Okay, ऐसे बोल. I thought it बड़ा.
So now we're trying to figure out. Now it's important that it's tied in the right place. Like you just heard our conversation, Pooja and mine. Very important that the plant is placed correctly and tied also correctly. Go here, yeah, and just onto this piece of wood is where you will tie. Yeah, so these are sometimes a little tricky, but yeah, it takes a little bit of patience, and that's what makes this whole thing so interesting. Yeah. So let's see. Pooja's got her fingers in place to kind of, there she goes. So now let's just straighten this out, straighten the plant, so that it's in the place you want it to be, right? And then please knot it now. Yeah. Remember, this is a bit of a patience kind of a job. Yeah. See if we can get a couple of other more knots to it, and yeah, take all the time we want to do it nicely. Make one more knot, Pooja. Let's make one more knot, please, so that it stays in place and doesn't pop up. There we go. And again, as we discussed earlier, we cut off the extra. So as you see, we've tied quite a lot of the plants onto the wood. Okay. We're trying to keep the root downwards and the leaf upwards. As you keep tying it, it's important that you again spray the plants and keep it moist. So now again, slowly but steadily, we'll inch it towards, bit by bit, we're moving forward and tying the whole, all the wood with plants. Okay, so now we've completed the tying of the plants. We've also put the wood back into its place and the tank in the place it should be. Now we've arranged these stones in a pattern where we want the front area to have a bit of white sand, and all the back area we will have the Amazonia ADA Amazonia soil where we will try and grow some more plants. So now let's do the first step of getting the tank in place and finishing the. We've done the hardscape. Let's add the soil. Let's add the sand, and let's see how it goes. So we've just added the decorative sand in the front area. Okay, and let's see how. We'll add the soil at the back. In the places where we're going to add soil, like I'm showing you, we will first add the super or the bacteria set. First of it being Bacter 100. Yeah. Again, our happy helper Pooja is going to do this, because I've got the camera in my hand. This only in the places where we're going to add soil. Yeah. Now, you can add as much as bacteria as you want. In this we're adding a couple of spoons here and there, carefully. Wherever we have gaps, we're adding bacteria there. ADA bacteria is 100 types, and that's why it's called Bacter 100. It's got 100 types of bacteria in it. Now, a few of them, as soon as it touches water, they will wake up. Some of them are dormant. And to wake them up, we need another product called Tomalin BC. That's the next thing that our happy helper Pooja is going to add. She's going to add Tomalin BC. There you go, a different view. Yeah, so this is Tomalin BC. That's what she's going to add next. Similar quantities. Only in the areas where we're going to add soil. Tomalin BC acts as an electric charge, okay, to kind of wake up the dormant bacteria. In layman's terms, there's some bacteria sleeping, and to wake that sleeping bacteria up, we use Tomalin BC. Now, when the sleeping bacteria wakes up, generally, even if we wake up after a long nap, we feel hungry. Same with the bacteria. So the next thing that we will add is clear super. Now again, I emphasize, adding a little extra bacteria into the system is not a problem. It's okay to add some bacteria into the system. A little extra, no harm. So there you have clear super, and we're going to add similar quantities of clear super into the tank. Again, in the same area where we've added the bacteria and Tomalin BC. That's the area where we're going to add the soil. The tank is kind of a little small, so you can get a perspective here. It's a 36 centimeter tank, or in ADA it's called mini M. So it's a kind of a nano setup, mini. Yeah. So we've added that. The next step is to add soil. Yeah. Carefully. Now what we'll do is, in the same place we're adding soil. Yeah. I'm just filling up the gaps carefully. I'm using this little bit of a plastic contraption so that I can get the soil into the gaps. Yeah. You can use a brush to kind of, or you can use the ADA sand flattener as well to kind of get to the gaps. I'll use a little more once I understand the level. So even in this little bit of a small gap in front, I want a little bit of plants growing there. That's the plan. So I'm using soil here as well, and in the gaps. And carefully I'm going to use the brush to move away any soil so that it doesn't fall into the white sand. I know there are a few pieces fallen. We'll remove it as we get working. Once you fill water, we can easily remove that out. So now carefully we're going to fill the sand into the other side of the tank as well. So there you go, we've added the soil. Then it's kind of giving you a clear picture of what we intend to do. And I'm guessing it's slowly but steadily starting to look very much like the image we had taken. Yeah. We still need to add a little bit more detailing, which we will do as we go forward. So once we've added the soil, and the next step is to add or moisten the soil. So add a little bit of water. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of a mug, take a mug, little bit of water, and slowly, very slowly add, with your hand in it. So Sandeep here is going to help us do that. Very little by little. Yeah, that's it, Sandeep. So that's how you add water so that there's enough, or the soil gets wet completely. Now there are some few gaps in the soil which I want to cover up, and so we're going to use a little bit of powder soil, aqua soil Amazonian powder. It's basically smaller granules compared to the aqua soil Amazonia. What you see here, it's a smaller granule. I'll show it to you. So add a little bit of it so that we can use smaller plants and plant properly. So this is the aqua soil Amazonia powder. Now you see it's a smaller granule compared to the aqua soil Amazonia that we've used earlier. So slowly but steadily, in places where we feel that there is a little more gap, we will add the aqua soil Amazonia powder. Yeah, see, like that. So it kind of covers up the aqua soil Amazonia, and it makes place for the like you see here. Now you see a difference. Yeah. So this is where when you plant tissue culture plants, the plants are very small, so it kind of gives grip. The Amazonia powder is also very good for shrimp, and the shrimp eat it. They love to eat it. It's very good, and so it's got two uses of sorts. Now I think it's time to actually have a look at the actual picture again, just to get a brief idea of if you're going on track. So this is the image again, and this is the aquascape in comparison to the image. It's not 100% same, but there's a stark resemblance. So now let's add the rest of the plants. I'm going to do a combination of plants here, okay, according to the choice. I'm not actually following the aquascape. Now what I'm trying to show you is we've covered the whole tank with aqua soil Amazonia powder. Yeah, wherever there is soil wherever we had used Amazonia. We're covering it with powder. Now that's done. Okay, it's important every now and then that you spray the plants so that you keep the plant moist. Yeah, you don't want it to dry up. So every now and then just keep spraying the plant so that it doesn't dry. Yeah. So I'm going to be using these three kinds of plants. That's the Eleucharis parula or the dwarf hairgrass, Eleucharis acicularis, okay, and the Ludwiga repens super red. Now in the actual image there is more red plant, but I want a little bit of color in this, so I'm using a bit of super red. Now again, as usual, our happy helper Pooja is here removing the plants like we showed you yesterday. She's removing acicularis and again arranging it into a tray. This is very important because once you have it properly arranged, then it's very easy to plant. Yeah. So pre-preparation for any tank is always very helpful. While Pooja is going to do this, I'm going to show you. So we have this now offer running right now as a summer sale. You buy any 3 tissue culture pots and you'll get 1 free. So all of the pots are available. See this, buy 3 cups and you'll get 1 free. This is a limited offer, okay, and though this video may be up on YouTube for a long time, the offer is only limited for this month only. That is the May month of 2019. Yeah, there you go. Buy 3, get 1 free. Now there is other offers as well attached to this. I will talk about it in another piece. Yeah. And this is the Dua Terra system. One is already in action, one we're still making. This is in the making. We'll have a separate video for that. This is the Dua System 30 with the amazing ADA soul stand and the Dua System 30 with Bucephalandra, Monte Carlo, Ludwiga Super Red and Hairgrass. This is the ADA 90 centimeter tank. Okay, for people who want to see. This is with the RGB and it's a very unique kind of a setup. So there you have it. This is Eleucharis acicularis, ACICULARIS, spelled acicularis. I think no. Yeah. So now the fact that it's arranged onto the tray, we will plant it in the tank. Let me just show you how it's done. So we're taking the plants that have been arranged in a tray. I'm using an ADA pin set. Yeah, this is about 10 years old and I've been using it for 10 years. You still see how effective it is. So we take a plant like this, okay, and we will plant it exactly where we want in this fashion. Yeah. Once the plant goes in, you remove the pin set. So it's a very spring action kind of a thing. And there you go, it's been planted. Let me plant some more. You can see how it's done. The pin set can be used like a pen. Yeah, see, you use it like a pen. It's holding here, okay, and we're pushing it in. Now I'm letting the pin set loose and pulling it out. Okay, if the plant goes a little inside, don't worry about it. It will grow back. It will catch roots and grow back. So don't worry about how inside the plant may actually grow. Yeah. I'm actually going to use three types of grass here. Acicularis is medium or medium height. The Eleucharis parula or the dwarf hairgrass is dwarf as it suggests in the name. And I'm going to use a little bit of vivipara as well, which is the tall hairgrass. So this will be a kind of a hairgrass kind of a tank. Now, what I'm going to show you here is, see, suppose you have a 1 centimeter square. Okay, this is approximately 1 centimeter square. You try and plant two plants there. One in this corner, yeah, and one in the other corner. Here. So one here, one there. So that's the kind of a 1 centimeter gap in between the two plants. Yeah, that's like the ideal spacing for grass. Some other plants like Echinodoris or bigger plants, you may want to use cryptocons. You probably use a 2 centimeter or 3 centimeter gap depending on the size of the plant. So continue to plant where you think according to your imagination or depending on the kind of layout you add the plants. Now if you see how conveniently, so the fact that the soil is wet and we have the powder soil as well, the plants go in and sit comfortably. If the soil is dry, it's not going to happen. It will come off. You need to have wet soil, and so there's a stone here, so it's going to be difficult, but yes, in the gap. And planting some on the other side as well, so that we have some kind of a, not like a uniformity, but an idea from the actual picture. We'll get the rest of the plants and then come back again. We will be using a couple of anubias as well, and so here we are tying the anubia using ADA wood tied onto small pieces of stone and keeping it ready, again pre-preparation, like it's important, like I've said earlier. And we will place the anubias in strategic places in the aquascape. Let's see again, this is an anubia, a small piece of stone, so that the rhizome is sitting on top of the stone. Now we're taking a bit of wood tight and twisting it, the rhizome and the little piece of stone. Now once you place the anubia, the stone will not be visible. So after the Acicularis here, we've planted dwarf hairgrass in front on both sides, yeah, to give it that little bit of a difference. Now the whole of the back we will be planting again Acicularis on all the sides, and maybe in certain places here we will be using anubias. Now in the previous video we just showed you how to tie the anubias, so certain gaps will show you how that is done. In next step, we've added Anubias petite in different locations, strategically placed. That looks good in this setup. And now we will be filling water into it. Now, filling water is very important because when you do that, you have to do it very, very slowly and not be in a hurry. Now, we'll show you how to fill the water. We've shown you earlier again, but then we'll show you more. So you take a mug of water, put your hand in and let the water slowly fall into your hand, not disturbing the soil or the sand below. You do this carefully, slowly and very patiently. In next step, we've added Anubias petite in different locations, strategically placed. That looks good in this setup. And now we will be filling water into it. Now, filling water is very important because when you do that, you have to do it very, very slowly and not be in a hurry. Now, we'll show you how to fill the water. We've shown you earlier again, but then we'll show you more. So you take a mug of water, put your hand in and let the water slowly fall into your hand, not disturbing the soil or the sand below. You do this carefully, slowly and very patiently. So we will be using an ADA ES 150 filter for the nature aquarium that we just set up. Comes with an spin type lily pad. Again, the ADA ES 150. So now the water is filled and you can see that the scape has resemblance to the picture. Let me just add. We're using the ADA Aquascape. This is a 36 centimeter tank. It's not a very big tank, though it seems like that. We're using an ADA diffuser for carbon dioxide. Okay. This is day one. So I'll show you the fertilizers that I'm going to be using for the first day and then the first month and the second month. We'll add a few updates on this tank as and when. So now let's see how this tank looks in comparison to the picture. We'll go back to the actual picture again. So we've tied Anubias with stone, we've tied the Rotala HRA, we've used dwarf hairgrass in front, and we've used Eleucharis acicularis at the back. So this is the image again. We're also using the ADA speed controller to control the number of bubbles per second. We're using non-return valve so that the water doesn't come back into the tank. For fertilizer, we will be using the ADA Bright EK, which is potassium. We will be using 1 ml per day. Yeah, and we will be using 1 ml of the ADA Green Brighty Mineral. Yeah, there you go. Let me just show you that Green Brighty Mineral. Again, we will be using 1 ml every day. Now, every night On the other hand, we will be using the ADA green bacter. Okay, this the bright decay emitter we will be using when we switch on the lights, and the green bacter comes in a dropper format, and we will be using the green bacter in a once we switch off the lights. Okay, 1 to 2 drops every night.